Now to something extremely creepy. Jazz, have a look at this picture and tell me what's wrong with it.
Well, they just look like any ordinary happily married couple, Michael.
Yep, that's Eunice Winston Johns, age 9, with her husband, 22-year-old Charlie Johns. That photo, published in Life magazine in 1937, shocked America and prompted some states to put prohibitions on adults marrying children. Except 80 years on, those prohibitions amount to letting a judge or parents make the decision for their daughters. This is about the ongoing fight to ban child brides in America. In the beginning, there was a Bible quote, something about shekels and virgins and girls being the property of their fathers. Well, in the US of A, not much has changed. The State Department may insist on telling the rest of the world to get their act together and stop letting little girls marry men, but at home...
It's an enormous hypocrisy. The United States quite publicly advocates for the abolition of child marriage around the world, and yet you can get married below the age of 18 in every single state in the United States.
Some American states don't even have a floor on the age limit either. Come on! Even Saudi Arabia is talking about raising the minimum age to 16.
There is a long history of child marriage in the United States, and I am a historian of gender and sexuality and was interested in the degree to which Americans seem to believe that the marriage contract is capable of sort of helping young people who enter into it.
Bearing children is a woman's job. Child marriage must go.
So Nick Surrett wrote a book, American Child Bride.
In the last 20 years, I believe that the youngest documented is a 10-year-old getting married. That is extremely rare. The vast majority of minors who get married in the United States today are 17 years old. Behind them are 16 and 15-year-olds, but there are rare exceptions where 10, 11, and 12-year-olds get married. But the numbers in the last 15 years are probably no more than about 10 to 15 in the country as a whole of 10 and 11-year-olds.
Too young to vote, drink, join the military. You can't even get divorced, but getting married is okay. And it's not the states you're probably thinking. Come on, you thought this was just a southern rural thing. It's all over. And check this out. Massachusetts and California are among the states that allow children to walk down the aisle. Florida only just last month changed its laws to a minimum 17 years old. But for all those other states, often all it takes is one or both parents or the decision of a judge.
Between, say, 16 and 18, you can get married with your parents' consent. Below that age, below 16, you would need parental and judicial consent.
This isn't just religious cults or celebrated rock stars. As governor of New Jersey, Chris Christie said when he had the chance to stop it and didn't, stopping child marriage would violate the cultures and traditions of some based on religious tradition. Really, Chris? Really? Well, maybe it's just a few unfortunate kids with parents of questionable morals.
The most accurate data that we have are between 2000 and 2015, we know that 207,000 minors got married, most of them girls. That does not include data from 8 states that don't systematically collect vital statistics records about marriages, but they're big states. California is one of them. So if we estimate basically the rates for those additional 8 states, then the estimate we have is about 250,000 girls between 2000 and 2015.
So it's 250,000, mostly girls, sometimes getting hitched to an adult. I told you this was creepy. PBS highlighted a case last year of a 14-year-old getting pregnant to a 24-year-old after drunken sex. And her dad told her to do the right thing. Hang on, this is starting to feel like institutionalized pedophilia. Nick, why do you seem so relaxed?
Oh yeah, no, it's a problem. I seem perhaps blasé about it simply because the numbers were so much larger than this, say in the 1950s or in the 1920s. In the 1950s, 7% of all 15 to 7-year-old girls were also married. That's an enormous percentage of all 15 to 17-year-old girls, whereas today that number is well below 1%.
But this is the 21st century. isn't it?
Generally speaking, though, the legislators who support young people getting married are particularly worried about pregnancy. They believe that pregnant girls should be married, and they're worried about abortion as well. They worry that if girls don't have the option of getting married, that they may be more likely to terminate pregnancies, even though there's not much evidence to suggest that that's true at all.
So an American girl gets pregnant, it may be rape, and the solution is to put them into a solemn and legally binding union.
Yeah, I think that one of the conclusions of the book that I wrote on this is that Americans have an enormous amount of faith in the institution of marriage. Even if we know that a man has taken advantage sexually of a girl, if he is willing to commit to her, that seems in many legislators' eyes, particularly those who are religious and conservative and have more faith in marriage, say, than I do and other sort of more secular Americans, they believe that marriage is going to be a safe place for that girl, even if the man who is now about to become her husband was not treating her in a way that they would consider to be safe outside of marriage.